Hello again, everyone. Sifu Sylvain Chamberlain here with you. Um, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Daimoku Sancho. Um, uh, if it's not been apparent by now in my videos, um, I'm not one who likes to mince words, although I can be quite verbose, um, because I really want to build an accurate understanding um, of the Buddhist teachings. It really, it's a real advantage to have an interlocutor, at least one other person. But I've built this $150,000 building here. And I know that there are those of you who live local to this area in North Shannon who could come here on Wednesday nights, Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings. I need you. I need you to perfect my own Buddhist wisdom, and I need you to listen so that I can transmit to you what I have learned in almost 30 years of scholarship. And I need you to be proof for me that the changes in my life, that the things that I have found growing in my own understanding of how I work, how the world works, how you work, how the entire process of phenomena coming to be and then going away, how it all works, and how the more depth I get of understanding of that, forces out an awareness that I already had, but it's covered with all this human bother, that there's nothing that separates us. Not only nothing that separates you and I, but nothing that separates our desires, what we want. All the questions we ask ourselves when we look for some kind of philosophy, some kind of answers, from religions to philosophies to New Age, whatever, all of us are seeking. And we want to know, what's the matter, boo-boo? My dog is whining. What's the matter? Come here. Let me stay here with Daddy. You know, why has that person got what I perceive to be better than I've got? Why can't aren't I smarter than this? Why can't I find the right person? Why do I find the right person only to find out later they're not the right person? Why don't people like me the way I like them? Why do people misunderstand me all the time? Why do I misunderstand me? I mean, you know all the questions. I don't need to list them. They go on and on and on and on and on. Just like examples in Buddhism, right? They extrapolate into numbers we can't even fathom. And so we're looking for answers. This does two things. And this is what so there's my plea to get you to come here so we can talk about this. Because I know that the more we talk about it, the more excited you're going to get about it, the more you're going to talk to other people about it. And this is how we're going to achieve world peace. And this is how we're going to stop electing idiots to the White House. And this is how we're going to start doing things that make sense for the how things happen so that we gradually increase the fortune of health and happiness in this world instead of constantly adding to the damn misery. I'm titling this video strongly because I'm not pulling any punches today. I'm going to try to keep my language clean. I am human and I have access to all of those things just as you do. And they may slip out. Please don't be offended. Remember, offense has to be taken. So don't take it. I'm not offering it. Please. This is my plea video. And I want to read something out of the Lankavatara Sutra where Buddha talks specifically to the thing I want to address today. Some of these words, they'll be foreign to you. They may not make sense. Please don't worry about that too much. I think you'll get the sense of it. And it's not a long reading, but I just want to read it because I want you to know that this isn't my opinion. I want you to know that when I talk about Buddhist teachings, I talk about Buddha's teachings. Okay? Not some guy in ancient China who wrote some treatise and thought this way. Not Lao Tzu, not Confucius, not Mao Zedong, not. I am focused completely on Buddha. And the lineage that I follow is of other scholars who too strived their whole life to do as we meditate on the second meditation, the third meditation, to correctly transmit or communicate the Buddha's teachings. Not our view, not my opinion. All I'm trying to do is I'm trying to talk to an audience of 2016, a sophisticated audience with access to a tremendous amount of information, not all of it good, but I'm trying to be one of the lights. I'm trying to be one of the lights that says, this is right. This is exactly as it was said. This is what it means in today's terms. Correct me. I'm not afraid of it. I'll debate anyone. I've been reading this stuff for over 30 years. I still haven't read it all. For a little under 30 years, about 28, 29. But there's one point, and the more I read, the more sutras I read, the older, the middle, the new, the latest ones, there's one central point that Buddha keeps trying to hammer over and over. And then, but what do you mean that? But what do you mean this? This is the whole discourse of the sutras. It's an interlocution between somebody who's just having a hard time getting it. Well, we have the terminologies today that there's no excuse not to get it. So let me read this. This is part 20. I forgot my Roman numerals now. 28. Yeah, this is part 28. Lankavatara Sutra from chapter 2. At that time, Mahamati, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, said to the Blessed One, this is an English Western translation. I always have that problem of Western terms creeping in to what wasn't used back then. But let's just forgive that and follow along unless it's really confusing, because that's one of the things I hammer on a lot. This isn't about faith, Western faith, and hope for something. No, this is scientific, okay? So he's the Blessed One, not because he's blessed by something else. He's the Blessed One because he's so freaking amazing. He's awakened. He understands at a level none of us do. So instead of blessed, it should say Awesome One. All right? So let's replace that. So this Bodhisattva is talking to Buddha, and he says, Awesome One, you make mentions of the Tathagata Garbha in the sutras. Tathagata is another word for Awesome One, and the Garbha is the what it's like to be him. In the sutras, and verily it is described, talk about Western idioms, verily it is described by you as by nature bright and pure, as primarily unspotted, endowed with the 32 marks of excellence, hidden in the body of every being like a gem of great value, which is enwrapped in a dirty garment, enveloped in a garment of skandhas, dutas, and ayatanas, and those are ways of thinking, by the way, and soiled with the dirt of greed, anger, folly, and false imagination. I'm telling you, what I'm reading right now, you could just study this for the next 30 years, because this is the core. While it is described by the Awesome One to be eternal, permanent, auspicious, and unchangeable. Is not this Tathagata Garbha taught by you the same as the ego substance taught by the philosophers? The ego, as taught in the systems of philosophers, is an eternal creator, unqualified, omnipresent, and imperishable. What does that sound like? 3,000 years ago, they were debating this. And Buddha's going to stomp on it right now. If any philosophy, religion, Mad Magazine, if anything tells you that you owe your life, that you owe your actions, that you are controlled by, that you can be changed by something other than you, God, Ein Sof, Allah, Muhammad, the great spaghetti dragon in the sky, they're all the same. It's a deviant way of manipulating your mind so that you can be governed. Because if I can get you to think magically that you're not in control of your own life, that something else is influencing you and you have to appease that something else, Donald Trump! It's a real short equation from that to this, from that to Hitler, from that to Mussolini, from that to allowing others to control your actions. You are the omnipotent one. You are the one with all the power. You are the one who is making this world happen. It's yours. If you wanted to change it. I know that sounds so simple, but in order to change it, quite honestly, you need to start discovering how your mind works, because all of this is controlled by your mind. I'm telling you, I know I'm adamant about this, and I hate to sound evangelical, but 3,000 years of this teaching, and people are still wandering around wondering, well, why do I have to wait till I die to be happy or absolved? Why is my life dirt? He's talking about this exactly with the same words. This is a Western scholar, so he's using Western words. And still the Buddha's message comes through. I'm going to try to finish reading this without interrupting it. Sorry. Okay. The ego, as taught by in the systems of philosophers, is an eternal creator. I love that. Unqualified, omnipresent, and imperishable. Other. The awesome one replied, "No, Mahamati. My Tathagata Garbha is not the same as the ego taught by the philosophers. For what the Tathagatas teach is the Tathagata Garbha in the sense, Mahamati, that it is emptiness, reality limit, nirvana, being unborn, unqualified, and devoid of will effort." Why? What is will effort? We know from my previous videos what will effort is. It's karma. Karma only moves you and me, the trees, the planet, phenomena. Only phenomena are moved by will effort. That's what creates the phenomena, will effort. And by the same token, if you want to know how to change everything and truly understand everything in the phenomenal world, then you need to cease the will effort. And then the clarity will come through. It's like looking at a beautiful clear water pond. And the will effort is your hand going, splashing the water around. If you just stop your hand for a minute, everything will calm down and you will see the beauty like the water does not even exist. Right? That's clarity. That's awakening. That's taking control of your mind and seeing what really is going on instead of the garbage that you're filtering in front of it, especially when you start with I, mine, duality, me, and other. But we're humans, so me and other is an obvious thing, and I knock this table around, I know I'm associating myself as a duality. So it's here. But if you can calm the thinking that makes it so, suddenly things start to make sense in a whole new way. I did it again. I know. Here I go. The reason why the Tathagatas, who are arhats and fully enlightened ones, teach the doctrine pointing to the Tathagata Garbha is to make the ignorant cast aside their fear when they listen to the teachings of egolessness, and to have them realize the state of non-discrimination and imagelessness. What's non-discrimination? We can say that 100 different ways, right? The words I often use are non-differentiated or indifferentiated, differentiation versus non-differentiation. He's saying non-discrimination, because discrimination is a function of the mind. It's another word for consciousness. Consciousness is discrimination, is the science of duality, this and that. And at its fundamental, you'll hear, in Zen, you'll hear it a lot, but throughout the Buddhist teaching, if there is no this, then there is no that. If there is no that, then there is no this. It's the duality problem. All right. Blah, 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 blah. Realize non-discrimination. I also wish, Mahamati, that the Bodhisattva Mahasas of the present and future would not attach themselves to the idea of an ego, imagining it to be a soul, some permanent bag of me. Mahamati, it is like a potter who manufactures various vessels out of a mass of clay of one sort by his own manual skill and labor, combined with the rod, water, and thread. Mahamati, that the Tathagatas preach the egolessness of things, which removes all the traces of discrimination by various skillful means issuing from their transcendental wisdom. That is, sometimes by the doctrine of the Tathagata Garbha, and sometimes by that of egolessness, and like a potter by means of various terms, expressions, and synonyms. For this reason, Mahamati, the philosophers' doctrine of an ego substance is not the same as the teaching of the Tathagata. Thus, Mahamati, the doctrine of the Tathagata Garbha is disclosed in order to awaken the philosophers from their clinging to the idea of the ego, so that those minds that have fallen into the views imagining the non-existent ego as real, and also into the notion that the triple emancipation is final, may rapidly be awakened to the state of supreme enlightenment. Accordingly, Mahamati, the Tathagatas, who are arhats and fully enlightened ones, disclose the doctrine of the Tathagata Garbha, which is thus not to be known as identical with its philosopher's notion of an ego substance. Therefore, Mahamati, in order to abandon the misconception cherished by the philosophers, you must strive after the teaching of egolessness and the Tathagata Garbha. At that moment, the awakened one recited this verse: the personal soul, continuity, the skandhas, causation, atoms, the supreme spirit, the ruler, the creator, they are discriminations in the mind only. Now, if I had a Buddhist mic, I'd drop it. Okay? Let's put an end to this insanity that there's some kind of magical being controlling our lives. It's in your mind. It's made up. It's like Santa Claus. It has no more reality than that. It's a nice little story, but it's been used for thousands of years to manipulate the populace and to make them easily controlled. Because when you don't know who you are and you don't think every day on how your mind works and who you are, then you're easily told who you are and what you need to do to keep your life happy. Like work for crap wages, do 10 people's work, and still love the fact that I've given you a job. That's insanity. And it's only possible because of thinking like this. Not like this, but I mean what he's pointing out. The magical thinking that there's an ego, a something and other. An ego can only happen when you don't understand that everything is from the same pool. We're like bubbles in a froth, a bubble bath. For each bubble to think, I'm not you guys. And I know that there's some master bubble up there that watches my every move. it's so ridiculous. I can't even come up with a scenario that's stupid enough. I'm not saying those things didn't have some purpose. I'm saying they did. They are the basis, the formation in the history of man of how to control large masses of people. They are books of governance. Instill an unknowable fear in people, and they will jump to anything you tell them as long as you say you can provide the answer. It's power politic. And because we're all at the fundament, I think, creative beings, we're the creators, not something else. We're the creators. If you're miserable, guess who created that? You did. I didn't do it to you. We've got to get this thinking straight. Please, people, we live in the most defiled time, and we have politicians telling us we live in the most wonderful time because we have internet and we have this and we have that. But we're more scared than ever. We're ready at any moment if our neighbor says, I voted for this or I eat that or I believe this. We're just waiting for the right word. Should I take shelter or should I get my gun? Who's going to commit the violence first? Rats are more intelligent than this. We have to begin supporting each other. And we have to learn how our minds work. The moment you start doing that, so much clarity starts to happen. And the more clarity you get, the more you want to weep at how much you didn't see. How could I not see? Why do I chant? It's not magic. It's because I'm invoking my intelligence. I'm invoking each one. I've described this before. Each character up there is a unique character representing a teaching. If you don't believe me, think the word Bible and just look at the hundreds of thoughts that are rushing into your head right now because I said Bible. Let me say another word, Quran. A whole bunch of other thoughts just entered your head. That's how we human beings, that's how our mind works. That's why when I say Trump, most of you start drooling. Now, you may have different reasons for drooling. We can talk about that. My point is, do you see the power of an invocation of a sound, let alone a word? Myo, ho, reng, ge, kyo. Each of those has a specific sound, a specific resonance. And as we teach ourselves Buddha's teachings, not just anybody's, not any interpreter, not mine, Buddha's teachings, and maybe something I've written, I could only hope that something I've written in the many books that I've published, that there's something in there that helps to clarify what Buddha said, not me. That would be tremendous fortune for me, tremendous happiness. That's all I'm trying to do. That and be an artist, which let's not get into that. I'd like to have these dialogues with you. Come to the Quoon. Come here, talk to me. Call me a bogus baloney buster, whatever. Come in here with your arguments. They're all going to benefit all of us because you're going to hear yourself hear what you really think. It might scare the crap out of you. And I guarantee you, I'm going to get an opportunity to go, oh, that. Okay, what about this, this, this? Oh, okay. And you'll leave and Maybe you'll go, wow, this was such a great idea. Or you'll leave and go, raga, 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 flip, close the door. I guarantee you, if it's a day, a week, a month, or a year, you're still going to be thinking about our conversation. And you will have grown as a human being. And you may not dive into Buddhism. Because that's not what this is about. This is about being better humans. And we can't do it staring at one of these all day. And we can't do it staring at a computer like I am now. I need you here. Please. If you're anywhere near. I have a map of where I'm located on the bottom of my homepage at threefoldlotus.com. Go there. It's a Google map. You can zoom out on it, zoom in on it. You can follow streets. At very least, comment on my videos. Now, I moved the camera up this week a little higher. Somebody commented that the camera looked like it was looking up too much. And I got a big nose. I got a big enough nose as it is. I don't need you looking up it. Look, I hope I was intelligible in this video. I know I'm late. Wednesday night's been a weird. I've been going through some karmic illnesses the last few days. Again, I can't. If you made it to this part of the video, I'm so appreciative. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you. Comment. Come. Email me. See if there's a different time you want to come over. This is what my life's about. Come once, come 1,000 times. Don't say a word, just watch Gangyo and listen. Just be here. I sure appreciate you. Dhammaku Sancho, and we'll call it a video, okay? Thanks again. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Thank you so much. Press the stop button and